Hey all, it's Ahmed from Recruitable University, and on today's recruitment program, we are on module number 5, and we are going to be talking about sales strategic success, how to successfully get a sale, how to turn those potential leads into a sale and close deals. So in this module today, we'll be covering a few sub lessons. So we'll be going through building rapport and trust. How can you build rapport and trust with your clients and your candidates? Understanding the product. So your candidates are your products, your clients are your product.
Hey, Ahmed here. I hope you're finding value in this video. If you need any free advice or help with your recruitment agency, or you're thinking of starting your own agency but have some questions, feel free to join our weekly Q&A. You may have seen some clips from it on my page. I'll post a link in my Telegram community, which is completely free to join. I don't even need your email or phone number, and I'll personally be there to answer any of your questions. The link is down below for those of you who are interested. Now let's get back to the video.
Totally understanding both of your clients and candidates in order to be able to sell your client to your candidate, and again, your candidate to your client. We'll also be going through perfecting your pitch, the best sales pitch that you can make, because the most important part of your sale is the pitch that you deliver, ensuring that you are delivering the best possible pitch to get the best possible results. We'll also be going through negotiation techniques, certain techniques that you can use to hopefully overcome those difficult, stubborn sales that you can't just get over to the finish line. So potentially we'll go through different techniques and tips for you to be able to get a sale. And last but not least, we'll be going through time management, how to organize your day, how to manage your day so that you can get the best possible result out of your day in order to get more sales and convert those leads into potential sales. So we get right into it. Building rapport will be the first lesson that we'll be going through today. So the difference between a sale and a non-sale, or potentially killing a lead. So the way that you look at it, every single candidate that you speak to is a lead. It's either a warm lead or a cold lead, a cold lead or a warm lead. So it's your responsibility, it's your job now to try to get this candidate, whether they're warm, whether they're cold, to get them over the finish line. And the finish line is for them to accept the offer that you are offering, whether it's a vacancy, whether it's a permanent vacancy, a short-term vacancy, whatever that vacancy is, whatever that product that you're selling to them. So the most important part of your sale is your report, how you get yourself across to your candidates and how you articulate yourself, how you speak to your candidates. It's very important, and it literally makes the difference. The first few seconds of the call, or the first few minutes of the telephone conversation that you have with your candidate, will be the deciding factor whether or not they will want to continue or they want to engage in the conversation. So it's very important that you build a rapport with your client and your candidates. Now, what I say is discuss, even sometimes you take the call away from the sale, so take it away from what you're trying to sell to them. So there's times when I speak to my candidates and they say to me, I'm literally at the airport, I'm going on a flight today. You say, oh, not to worries, I'll give you a call back on Monday, anywhere nice that you're going, and then just sort of try to have a 5-10 minute conversation with them about their holiday. And if you've been to those destinations, also mention where you've been, if you enjoyed it, any recommendation that you have for them. It's just something that, even just to move the call away from the sale and now sort of being a bit more personal and interactive with your candidates or your clients. And again, a common scenario I'm in sometimes is when I speak to my clients and I'm trying to book a candidate in for a shift, and I call them maybe on a day off, and they say to me, I'm just walking a dog. And if you've got a dog at home, you say, oh, what dog do you have? I'm into pets myself, and trying to build a relationship with them over uh, whilst taking the conversation away from work and away from the cell. It really, really works, and it builds that connection with them. So if they do remember you, they say, oh, it's this the chap or the lady I spoke to from the agency who recommended me to check out that restaurant whilst I was on that holiday. So trying to discuss interests with your clients and your candidates, and do not be shy to take the call. You don't have to be professional all the time, in terms of, it doesn't have to be just work related. You can just be yourself, and try to just build a relationship with your clients and your candidates. It really does work. And smile and dial is a common theme that we hear all the time, which is speak to your candidates whilst you are energetic. Don't come across dull, don't come across boring, don't come across daft on the phone. You need to really be it's sometimes what we like to do is we stand up whilst we are on that call, and we like to speak to our candidates at just an hour a day. Instead of being sluggish and sitting down the whole day, get up on the phone, smile, try to deliver your best possible pitch that you can in order to sell to your candidates or your clients. And that will move over to the next one, which is energy is key. I can't stress how important it is to have good energy on the phone. You've got to have that energy. You've got to have the buzz, and you've got to be energetic and live, because what it is, it's people will bounce off your energy. If you come across on the phone, you as I'm sure when you're working or when you're out and about, you pick up the phone, and you sometimes we get calls from, whether it's a telephone provider, whether it's an energy provider trying to sell us something. It's really how they come across to us on the phones that makes us either stay on that call a little bit longer than we anticipated, or we get off that phone right away. It's the energy levels. It's important. I can't stress how important it is to be energetic when you're on the phone. Stand up if you have to. Drink plenty of water, stay hydrated, and be energetic, be buzzing, and try to sell to them. Be excited for them. Tell them you've offering them a fantastic opportunity that they don't want to miss out on, or you're offering them a fantastic candidate who's just become available and he's just in the market as we speak, and I'm sure he'll get snapped up right away. So I thought I'd get on the phone to you first, and to let you know we've got someone available before he goes elsewhere. Or if you're speaking to your candidate, say to them, I've just got a vacancy fresh, it just come in. The client just spoke to me on the phone and said, can you please find me a engineer or a software developer or a doctor or a nurse, whatever the field that you've decided to do. So let them know you've handpicked them. It's not just that you've just picked up the phone and you've been calling around. You've handpicked them. You specifically went out of your way. You saw their CV, you saw their credential, and you said to yourself, I need to speak to you because I've got a fantastic opportunity that you really don't want to miss out on. So your energy level is key, and it's really how you deliver to your candidates and your clients that will get you that sell across the line. So that being said, that will help us cover. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to give you an example using ChatGPT on how you can build rapport, what sort of scenarios that you can sometimes find yourself in, and how to overcome those challenges. So if we go to ChatGPT, and so I've just put in we want to simulate a sales call, and where I will speak to my candidates and we will get potential responses. So my pitch generally would be hi, my name is Ahmed. I'm calling from ABC Recruitment. I'm just giving you a quick call regarding fantastic work opportunities I have in your local area. So this is my starting sort of pitch. What I always like to ensure is when I'm on the phone, just to ensure them it's a quick call, because no one likes to pick up calls and stay on that call for a lengthy period of time. So I just reiterated them, hi, my name's Ahmed. I'm calling from ABC Recruitment, and it's just a quick call, and to let them know I've got fantastic work opportunities. So be excited for them. I've got fantastic work opportunities in your local area, paying fantastic rates, or paying really, really good rates. Now, I was just wondering, what is your work availability? So now I'm going to ask AI to give me potential or possible answers and how we can overcome those scenarios. So we've got a few responses. So with the first one is the interested response, and that one is generally the easiest, which would be, hi, Ahmed, I'm actually looking for a new work opportunity. Can you tell me more about what you have available? So this one is fairly easy, which would be go straight into your pitch, let them know what you've got available, and then sell to them. Seems like they're already interested. So it's just now all you have to do is just tell them more about the vacancy, more about the position, and then get them across the line and book them in for those shifts that you wanted to book them in for. And then you've got the neutral, polite response where they say, hi, Ahmed, thanks for reaching out. I'm not actively looking right now, but I'm always open to hearing about new opportunities. What do you have in mind? So they've given you a door, they've given you a window for you to take the floor, to take the mic and to deliver it, and to say to them, fantastic, thank you so much for giving me a few moments of your time. As I said to you, I won't take too much of your time. I've got a fantastic role in your area. It's literally 15 minutes away from your postcode, and they're looking for software engineers like yourself and to join their team. They're a really, really great bunch. And I saw your CV and I thought I'd reach out to you and to get your interest. So this one now, you've got their interest. They're neutral. They're sort of on the fence, and it's just all they need is just that little bit of a push, and that can be done with your call. And then you've got the potential responses of I'm busy or not interested, and I'm sure you get this a lot of the times. And you'll speak to your candidate. Your candidate say, it's not a good time right now. Can you send me more details via email? So these ones are just more of a just I'm interested to hear, but not right now. So send me an email. What I would do is just I'd get myself a little email template that and I will be sending to my candidates. So whilst I'm on the phone to them, I'll just copy and paste that template that I have, and I will just ask him, perfect, not to worry at all. I can send you a quick email with the opportunities that we have available in your area. Can I just confirm your email address and just get their email address whilst you're on the phone to them and send that email as you're on the phone to them, and just say to them, can you just kindly confirm that you received my email? I've just sent it over to you as I'm speaking to you on the phone. Sometimes it may land into the spam folder, so do check. And it's important that you say to them, because a lot of the time, sometimes you may find that your clients or your candidates aren't getting back to you, but the reason for that is they actually haven't seen your email. So just say to them, it may have landed into your spam or your junk folder. If you could just double check and kindly confirm you've got my email whilst I'm on the phone to you, and then 9 out of 10 times they'll be like, yeah, not to worry, just give me a second. And they'll say, yeah, that's it, I've got your email, Ahmed from ABC Recruitment. No worries, thanks for that. And yeah, thanks for sending me an email. So what I'd like to say in that case is they're busy. Just because they're busy and they may give you a not interested response, it does not mean they're not interested at all. It's just they're not interested right now. You can say to them, okay, perfect. Do you mind me giving you a quick call back potentially some point next week after you had a look over my email? And then if they say to you, yeah, so just make sure that you try to close them on the day that you want to call them back. So do not leave it open. Say to them, oh, do you mind if I give you a call back next week, Wednesday? Yeah, no worries. What time suits you Wednesday? 12 o'clock? Perfect. I'm going to put this in my diary to give you a call 12 o'clock next week, Wednesday, and we can discuss on the phone a few options that may be a great fit for you. So now you've got that potential, I'm not interested right now because I'm busy, to try to schedule a time with them where they free up their time. They'll be a bit more relaxed and a bit more open to give you more of their time and potentially their availability for work. And then you've got the I'm not interested response. Thanks for calling, but I'm not interested in new opportunities right now. Thanks for your call. Those ones, they're not interested and they've made it clear they're not interested. What I like to say to them is, what I say to those kind of candidates is, because they're not interested and they're in an opportunity right now, I'd say that no worries at all. Let me just tell you about the opportunity, and just now you've got to sell that opportunity just in case it may spark their interest, or it may make them change their mind in the future. Just to let you know, the opportunity was for a software developer. It was in Northwest London, which is about 15 minutes from you. They were paying £65,000 per annum and 6 weeks annual leave. Really, really flexible, hybrid. Sometimes you get to work from home as well. So that was the opportunity and what I was presenting to you. But no worries, I can see that you're not interested. But if in case you do change your mind, what I'll do is I'll drop you a quick email, and you can always let me know. This opportunity may be around for the next couple of days or so. So if you do change your mind, you can let me know. And whilst I'm on the phone to you, would you happen to know any friends or colleagues that may potentially be interested? And then ask them potentially if they've got a friend or colleague available. And if you do, kindly forward them my email and we will pay you a referral fee. So this person that was not interested at all in your position or the vacancy that you're offering, but you've told them anyways what it is and how much of a fantastic opportunity it was. And you always make them that, you're kind of missing out on this fantastic opportunity. Here it is. You're not available, but I leave it in your inbox anyway, in case you do change your mind. And then you've got the curious, cautious calls. Can you tell me a bit more about your company and, the they've got their guards up a little bit. So those ones, you let them know, I'm calling from ABC Recruitment. We're a recruitment agency. We actually specialize, and let them know whatever field that you're calling in from, that you're a specialist, that you're not just a gimmick, you're not just a rookie recruitment company, but you're a specialist in their field. We're a specialist in IT, and we've got so many IT opportunities available. We've been around the market for X amount of years. You don't have to, if you're a new agency, you don't need to say, we're new in the market. You can just, it's all about your perception and how you carry yourself and how you come across. You can say we work with so many providers in the IT space, and they trust us, and we've built years of reputation working with these companies. So we've got so many opportunities, and I know you're not interested, but if always try your best to leave at least some form of communication open for them should they change their mind in the future. Whether you drop them a text message just so they've got your details, whether you drop them an email so if they've got your details for future reference, try to always keep a form of communication open for them and leaving the ball in their court. So if they ever do change their mind, that they have a form of communication to get in contact with you. And then you've got the skeptical response, which is I get a lot of calls from so many different agencies, and what difference are you from the other 101 agencies that call me? Or the skeptical responses that I get sometimes is, how did you get my number? How did you get my details? Who are you? What I like to say to them, how did you get my details, is you've got to just be careful how you word it, because of course just GDPR, which we'll go into over the next modules or so. So what I like to, how I respond to when they say, how do you get my details? I sometimes keep it vague, because there's so many ways of obtaining our candidate details. Sometimes we say it could be CV Library, which is a job board that you've applied on, and we've got your details from the job board. You could have got your details from LinkedIn, and potentially you responded to vacancies that we had, or Indeed, or any of the job boards, or potentially you could have been a referral, a colleague, a friend, or a colleague referred you to us and saying that you are fantastic, a candidate who may be suitable for positions that we have available. So I just keep the response quite vague and open for them to keep it open. So I don't say, this is how we got your details, but it could be one of many options. And whilst I'm on the phone to you, and just wanted to, all the call was regarding was just really opportunities that we had in your area. So we had salary opportunities, locum opportunities, contracting opportunities. So let them know of all the different opportunities that you have in the area. And these are some of the responses and how to deal with them. I hope you enjoyed and you've benefited from this, and I'll see you on the next one. Hi all, it's Ahmed here from Recruitable University, and on today's recruitment program. So we are on the module of sales and try to perfecting your sales techniques. So we went through building a rapport and trust with your candidates and your clients. So just to let you know, this module, whatever we are going through, you can apply this to your candidates, and you can also apply this to your clients. So all the techniques and the negotiation skills and that we'll be sharing, you can apply this to your candidates. You can also apply it to your clients. So now we're going to go through understanding the product. Who are your product? So you have to understand what your product is. Your product is your client, and your product is also your client. When I say your product, it's what you are trying to sell. So for example, I'll try to simplify as much as I can. So a mobile phone. If you're trying to sell a mobile phone, an iPhone, to a random person on the street, this iPhone is your product. So you got to learn about the iPhone, what are its selling points, and what the iPhone does, what is great about the iPhone, what features it has. So you're able to sell this product now to the wider public. So your candidate is your product, and it's a product to your client. The best way to sell your product is by learning your product, knowing everything about your product, learning your candidate inside out, knowing what they do, what are their competencies, and what are their skill sets, what are they looking for, what have they studied, what are their experiences. So learning everything about your candidate, so then you can deliver and sell it to your clients. So when your clients ask you about your candidate, you know your product inside out, and you can sell it and you can deliver it to your clients. Likewise, your clients are also your product to your candidates. So you got to know about your client. What are they looking for? What is the package that they're offering? And what are the benefits and the perks of the company? How long have they been around? What is the company ethics? So these are all the questions that your candidate may ask you. And if you don't know your product, you're just going to and ah, and you're not going to be able to deliver and have the best sales pitch. So it's very important, before anything else, learn your client, learn your candidate, understand everything about your client and your candidate. And this is, this moves us to understanding the USP, the unique selling points. So what are the unique selling points of your candidates? What I like to list out as the USPs are the few bullet points. So whatever I'm sending an email, I put in a bullet point the few USPs, the things that stand out about my candidate. If my candidate is a doctor, for example, I would say this doctor can see all patients. This doctor can do home visits. This doctor can use all clinical systems. This doctor has 25 years plus experience. This doctor can do all the shared admin of the GP practice. For example, these are just things that will stick out to the client, like, this is a fantastic candidate. This is what they're able to do. Likewise, you can apply this also to your client. What are the USPs of this company? They are offering £60,000 per annum. They are offering remote working. They are offering whatever they're offering. They're offering 6 to 8 weeks annual leave, holiday. These are the packages that they're offering. So now you know what the USPs are. These are the first things that you want to mention to your clients and to your candidates. Don't go in about what they can't do. This is a typical mistake people say is, and I've got a candidate who can do everything except for this. Don't emphasize and don't focus on what they can't do, and focus on what they can do. Focus on selling them to your candidates, or focus on selling your client to your candidate and mentioning all the unique selling points that once they hear, they say to themselves, this sounds like a fantastic place to work for. I'll be interested to go for an interview. Or this sounds like a fantastic candidate and will be keen to move forward and schedule an interview. So ask the right question, and that is the only way you're going to understand your product, by asking the right question. Know everything about your candidate. So it depends on the field that you're in, but always make yourself a checklist. This is what I like to do. Make myself a checklist of all the questions that I'm going to be asking, because when you're making the calls and the cold calls that you're making, you literally are speaking to candidates back to back. Whether you speak to the next 20, 30, 40 candidates back to back, you're going to be asking the same things. So have yourself a checklist, so that way you don't miss out. For example, if you are recruiting dentists, ask them all the right questions. And what clinical system can you use? How far can you travel? And what is the rate that you are looking for? And this is universal, by the way. You can ask this to any of your candidates. How far are you willing to travel for work? What is your salary expectation? What is there anything that you don't do? Is asking all the right questions. So then when you present the candidate to your client may ask you, oh, perfect, this sounds like a fantastic candidate. And how far are they willing to travel? Because we're based in Northamptonshire. So you know already how far they can travel. Or your client may say to you, okay, this sounds like a potential match. What is their salary expectation? Or so you've asked all the right questions to your candidates, so you can absolutely deliver and sell it to your client. And likewise, ask the right question to your clients, because people can, especially candidates, they ask a lot of questions in terms of the opportunity that you're presenting them, because they're not going to jump board, they're not going to jump ship without asking the right question. Is this opportunity that you're presenting, is it the right opportunity for me? So they're going to ask you about the hospital or the company or whatever place that is hiring. So they will ask you, how much are they paying? They will ask you what are the bonuses and the perks of working at this company. So ask the right questions, so you have a deep understanding of both the client and candidate, and you are able to make a match. Sometimes what happens is your candidates will send you their CV, and that CV, of course, you need to screen the CV. You need to look at the CV before you send it out to your clients. Tweak it if you have to. Make sure that they match the right profile. So whether you tweak their CV, their profile, for example, I like to put in the keywords that they are looking for. So if you are right now hiring for a software engineer and they say to you, we're looking for someone that can do coding, someone that can do web development, someone can do this, ensure that these keywords are in their CV so they can see it, whether you put it at the top, and I can do coding, I can do web development, I can do SEOs, whatever they were looking for. So those keywords are important because when they are looking at your CV, they will see, okay, this person has those credentials that, or that has the experience that we were looking for. So it's important. Make sure once you know from your client, you have a brief understanding of what they are looking for. You can ask them for a job description. The job description will mention key requirements that they have. Try to use those words in the sell of your candidate, whether you put it in the body of the email, say, I've got a fantastic candidate available who's happy to interview. He can create websites, he can do SEOs, he can do coding, and they will look at and say, this is exactly what we were looking for. So it's very important. Always use the keywords that your client is looking for and tweak your CVs of your candidates, of course, after speaking to them and ensuring that they have the skill sets and they are able to do those things, because a lot of the candidates are actually more experienced and they can do a lot more what actually states on the CV. So what you want to do is make sure that you have the best possible product or best possible CV, and so you can put this forward to your clients. Manage your client and your candidate expectation. This is also very, very key. So understand what your client is looking for and understand what your candidate is looking for and manage the expectation. Don't over deliver and don't. So when I say don't over deliver, is, and if your candidate says to you, I'm looking for 100,000 per annum, this is way outside the industry standard or way outside the client's budget, they'll say to him, yeah, I can definitely find you that rate. The best way I like to manage my candidates is ask them. I never go first. I just ask them, what is this rate that you are looking for? And then once they tell me their rate, I just say, what I'll do is I'll take this back to the client. I can't promise I can get you that rate, but I'll see what they're looking for. And if they can't, I will come back to you with an offer that they can match. So that way, I've not over promised. I've not come back now disappointed my candidate where I've said, yes, I can get you that rate. And I come back and say to you, sorry, I actually can't get you that rate. I can get you 80 instead of the 100. Then they more likely will say, thanks for trying, but I don't want to pursue this anymore. So don't over deliver with your candidates and let them mention a rate first. And we will go through the sales techniques and negotiations very, very shortly. So if I go over to ChatGPT, and we can go through, we can simulate recruitment agency sales calls. So we're going to write a list of questions a potential company will ask about your candidates and how to overcome those questions. So the first thing a client may ask you before scheduling an interview is, what are their qualification experience? This should be clear and visible on the CV. If it's not, you want to make sure that their CV, before you send it out, it's clear what their skills are, what are their qualifications, so this is very important. Also, another thing that needs to stick out on their CV and your client may ask you is, what are their previous job roles? What were their responsibilities? So every job that they've worked for before, they have to ensure that, if you've got, it mentions where they worked for in the past and the types of responsibilities that they carried out at that company. It's very important that it's all clear and visible to your client. That way you want to minimize these sort of questions or these potential objections that you will get from your clients. Another sort of typical question is, how long has this candidate been in the industry? What are their experience in the industry? Where how long has he been a dentist, or how long has he been a software engineer? How long has this person been a doctor? So make sure it's written either on the CV, or it could be one of your USPs, to your unique selling points. He's been a doctor for 25 years. He's got all the experience and know-how in the industry. And other questions that they may ask you is, how do you know this person will be a cultural fit between the candidate and the company? And that way, the best way I answer normally is, is by suggesting a trial shift. So I say to them, I believe it'll be a great fit for you, but the best thing I genuinely believe to move forward, so you don't commit right away, is interview the candidate, see if it seemed like a good fit for you, and if you're happy after the interview, we can potentially schedule and organize a trial shift. So this way, you charge them just for that one day. You for having your candidate, and the candidate will work a shift or two at the hospital or at the company that you're hiring for, and to see if this candidate is a good fit, and vice versa if the client finds the candidate to be good. So this way, I always say to them, so you're not committing, you get to try before you buy, you get to see how he works or she works, and if you think they're a fit, then this will be an ideal situation for you. So these are some sort of objections that you may get from your clients when it comes to putting forward candidates. So I hope you've enjoyed this and you've benefited from this lesson, and I will see you on the next one. Hi all, it's Ahmed here from Recruitable University, and on today's recruitment program, we are going through the different types of sales techniques. We went through building rapport and trust, understanding your products, understanding your client and your candidate. So you were ensuring you were asking all the right questions in order to understand your client and your candidates. Now we'll be going through perfecting your sales pitch in order to have the best possible pitch and the best possible delivery to get the sales that you are trying to get. So perfecting your pitch, firstly, when it comes to a sales pitch, always ask open questions. And what do I mean by open question? Is don't ask questions where the outcome will be a yes or a no. For example, typical mistake that people make, and why we want to ask open questions is because we want the conversation to be engaging. We want to continue that call with our potential candidates who we are trying to place for work, or even with clients. So you can, as I said before, you can apply all of this module to both your clients and your candidates. So asking open questions. So if you're speaking to a candidate and you're trying to get their availability for work in order to find them work, what you don't want to say is, hi, my name is Ahmed, I'm calling from ABC Recruitment, are you available for work? The only answer you're going to get is either a yes, I'm available, or no, I'm not available. And if they are not available, that conversation has kind of died there because they've just given you a no, and you're ended the call pretty much. So what you want to do is ask open questions for your candidate to continue engaging with you, and for you then to continue engaging with them. So how would I ask that same question, which was, are you available for work, in a way that it's an open question? Now I would say, hi, my name is Ahmed, I'm calling from ABC Recruitment. I was just giving you a call regarding work. I was just wondering, what is your work availability? So now you're saying, I was wondering, what is your work availability, rather than saying, are you available for work? Once you do ask that question, I was wondering, what is your work availability? You're not going to get a yes or a no. You're going to get a, I'm currently not available, and then you get to potentially continue that call, or yes, I'm actually available every whatever Mondays and Thursdays. So these are just ways of making sure that call just sort of continues, and you want your candidate to do most of the talking. Another open question or a closed question that people ask all the time is, if the candidate's potentially not available, okay, do you have any friends or colleagues who would be interested in work? No, I don't have any friends or colleagues. Or yes, I do have friends or colleagues. So you're going to get a yes or a no. So how can you ask that same question now, whether they have friends or colleagues? So what I would say is, I could perfectly, I know you're not available at the moment. Who do you know that may be available? Who do you know? So now you've asked that question. So there's a little bit of an assumption you've got to make, is never assume that they don't know anyone. Never assume that they are not available. Never assume. So I'm going to ask an open question, which is, who do you know who's available? So now it gives them the opportunity to respond back to me. I don't actually have any friends or colleagues, or I potentially have a colleague who will be available. So ask open question to your clients. Ask open question to your candidates. Now, these are just examples of how to turn those potential closed questions into open questions. So always try your best when it comes to sales, when it comes to your pitch, when you're delivering your sales call, don't ask closed questions. What that will just do is it will end the conversation a lot earlier. And what you want to do is try to build that rapport and have the conversation flowing. And another thing is do your homework. What I mean do your homework is prepare yourself before the call. And this is where a lot of recruiters go wrong. What they do is they pick up the call, and as they're on the call, the candidate will say to them, okay, yeah, this sounds fantastic. Do you know what they're paying? Not too sure actually. Just give me 1 second, and they're ramming through, so they're scamming through their emails and trying to find the client. So make sure you are prepared. And you know what they say: if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail. And this is so true in recruitment. Prepare every single call before you get on that call. Get your candidate's postcode. Get your client's postcode. Know the destination, the distance between your candidate and your client. So when you're on that call, the candidate may say to you, I potentially may be interested. Do you know how far it is from me? Yeah, give me a second. Let me look for it. And you sound incompetent. What you want to do is, yeah, the hospital's literally 15 minutes from you. I'm just looking at it on Google Maps as we speak. You sound competent. You've done your homework. You know the distance between your client and your candidate. Again, you can apply this to your client as well. How can we apply this to the client? Know your homework, know about your candidate, as we previously mentioned in the previous slides. Know your candidates, know what they can and can't do. It's very, very important. So when you're speaking to your client, if your client says to you, okay, perfect, this nurse sounds fantastic. Can she do baby immunizations? I'm not too sure. Give me 1 second. Let me go through her CV. Honestly, you don't sound competent. You need to be like, yeah, I've got it right in front of me. I can see here she can do baby immunization. As a matter of fact, she can do all the duties that you require. And so you sound a lot more competent. So do your homework, prepare in advance. It may take you a little bit longer to go through your emails to have everything ready, but you want to do that. You want to sound competent. You want to sound that you are able to deliver. Understand your client and your candidate's pain points. So what do I mean by this? Understand your client and candidate's pain points. And we'll go through the potential objections that you may get from your clients and your candidates. It's understand, and a lot of the clients' pain points sometimes will be how long it's been taking them to find the candidates. Why is it taking you that long? Are you in a geographical location which is slightly remote? Are you is it that you're if is it that the package or the salary that you're offering is not really competitive? Try to understand why is it that they can't find the right candidate, or understanding your candidates also, and why are they not able to find the right opportunities that is for them. So understand them, see what they are looking for, try to get a good picture of what they want, what is their ideal. And I say to them, to understand the pain point, I say, what would be your ideal scenario if you could have your dream job? What would it be? And then write it all out for them. Write it all out. Key point, the bullet point, the key points that they mention. What would be the ideal job? Again, you can say this also to your client. What would be the ideal candidate? If I can find you the right candidate, what would be the ideal candidate for you? And write down the key points of the ideal candidate. In that way, you can understand what their pain points are and try to find them the right person for the position. Be confident in your delivery. It's so important when it comes to perfecting your pitch on or your sales call. Be confident in your delivery. If you are not confident on the phone, if you come across awkward, if you come across like you don't really know what you're talking about, some clients will just rip you apart and say to you, listen, you don't really sound like you've got a clue on what you're talking about. Be confident, know your product, understand your product, do your homework. That way you can confidently deliver to your clients. So if we go through Chat AI now and go through potential, so we're going to write a list of questions a potential company may ask me as a recruitment company regarding negative experiences when it comes to hiring candidates and how we are different. So a lot of clients will probably have used recruitment agencies in the past, so you may not be the first one, and they may have had bad negative experiences. So what are the type of questions that they may ask you, and how are you different? A question that may ask you is, how can you handle situation where, so let's just go back to the top. They may ask you, can you describe how you handle situation where a candidate does not meet the expectation after being hired? And this can sometimes be common, where the candidate is hired by the client, and after a certain period of time, they just don't seem to be the right fit for the job. So what is it that you would do, or what is it that you can do? So for example, this happens in recruitment a lot of the times. Not every single placement that you make is going to be fantastic, or not every single placement that you make is going to be the right fit for the practice. So how can you ensure your client that that this person will be suitable, and if they're not suitable, how do you handle these sorts of situations? What I say to them is, and if you deem that the candidate is not suitable, we will ensure that we'll find you a like for like replacement. So we give them another option, where if this candidate wasn't suitable, we give them another option where they can have the like for like candidate who has the same skill set and same competencies that they were looking for. This is one option. And another option is, it giving them the assurance of a rebate period, where if the candidate doesn't work out, because I'm sure they're going to be spending some sort of money for you delivering a candidate to them, let's just say on a permanent placement, it will be a finder's fee, just reassuring them that if it does not work out, you are entitled to a portion of your finder's fee that you've paid back to you. So that gives them reassurance that, okay, if it doesn't work out, they have some sort of a refund policy that is in place. Another typical question that a candidate may ask is, and how can you verify the authenticity of your candidate's qualification and your experiences? So let them know that you as a company, that you're competent, and this, you want to come across very competent as an agency, because you want to build that trust with your clients, that you do all the necessary background checks. So if you are hiring, for example, a doctor, that you've done the background checks, you've checked their PIN, it's actually on the registration, and they are legally allowed to practice in the country. And what I mean by this, for example, if you're working with a nurse, you just type in search the NMC register, and this will just bring up, this is a PIN. So every nurse will have a PIN. You just type in her PIN number. You will ask her or him, and what is your NMC PIN registration? They will give this to you, of course, because this is a key important factor that you've got to verify before placing them into work. And then you ask for their first name, their surname, and once you click, it will let you know how long they've been a nurse, how long they've been practicing. So now you sound very competent when you say to your client, and this could be a pain point that they have all the time, is agencies are just sending through the door and people without doing all the necessary checks. So when it comes to the question that they say to you, what measures do you take to verify the authenticity of your candidate's qualifications and their experience, is that you say, we do all the background checks, we ensure that they are who they say they are. And you can also say is, we ask our candidates and to email us a copy of their passport, their driver license, all their right to work, and we verify they are who they say they are. So this is just to mitigate any risk, and also to build that trust with your clients. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson and you've benefited, and I will see you on the next one. Hi all, it's Ahmed here from Recruitable University, and on today's recruitment program. So we are on module number 5 on the recruitment program, and we've went through the building rapport and trust with your candidates and your clients. We went through understanding your products, understanding what your candidates and clients are looking for, understanding their pain points, perfecting your pitch, and to have the best delivery or best sales pitch possible. We'll now be going through negotiation techniques, certain techniques that you can use which will help your pitch and will potentially get you better results. So first and foremost, never throw out rates. This is a rule I teach to everyone in recruitment, to my staff as well: never throw out rates. It's very, very important that you sit back and let your candidates throw out rates, or you let your client throw out rates. What I mean by this is, let's just say you are working with a candidate and you're trying to find them a contracting position that has become available, and you're going to ask them, what is the rate that you're looking for? They may say to you, what is this rate offering? Or as soon as you're on the phone to them, you say, I've got fantastic work opportunities in your area. How much is it paying? It's the bottom line for all of us. Let's face it, we are all trying to earn as much as we can. Doctors, the first thing sometimes they will say to you is, how much is it paying? A software engineer will say to you, how much is it paying? So the bottom line is the pay rate. If it's the correct rate, is it the attractive rate that they are looking for? So never throw out rates. Ask them always, what is it that you're looking for? What is a rate that you are looking for? And I will speak to my clients, I'll speak to my candidates, and I will come back to you. So ask them first, what is it that you want? If they don't give you a rate, try not to throw a rate. Just say, I'm speaking to the client and they've actually haven't mentioned specifically what the rate is. So I'm taking interest as we speak. What is it that you're looking for? Again, when it comes to your client, and when it comes to what they want to offer to your candidate, don't throw a figure first. Let them throw out a rate to you, and then you can grow and you can counter that rate. Because what you don't want to do is throw a rate yourself and then they're going to counter it. So give them let them put a ball in their court, let them throw a rate out to you, and then counter the rate that they have given you. Another thing, it's ABC. This is sort of basic when it comes to recruitment. ABC, always be closing. You want to make sure you're always closing a deal. You're always closing a lead. You are always closing. So you've got to have that mindset of ABC, always be closing. So even when even it comes to a candidate, candidate's on the phone to you and says to you, "Oh, I'm not available right now. It's a very busy time. You've called me, and can we speak later on?" Absolutely fine. What time later on suits you? Don't just say, yes, I'll call you later. What time later on? In the evening. Perfect. No worries. What time in the evening? At 8 o'clock. Perfect. Expect to receive a call from me at 8 p.m. today, and then we can take it from there. Always be closing. Never leave a lead untied. Never leave it sort of just a potential candidate, or even a client. When it comes to client, for example, if a client says to you, "Oh yeah, if you just call me, I'm in a meeting, Norris, I will give you a call back. When is a good time later on? What time? 3 p.m. Yeah, I'll give you a call at 3 o'clock." Make sure specifically that you diarize, that you put this in. We'll go through and organizing yourself very shortly, but make sure you are constantly closing any potential loose end, and you don't want to leave it untied. This is very, very important in recruitment. Is something you'll find is people will try to fob you off. They'll say to you, "Yeah, give me a call later on." But a competent recruiter will follow it up. A competent recruiter will know ABC. I've got to make sure I'm going to close this candidate. I'm going to close this client. I will follow up. I'll give you a call at 8 o'clock, and then we'll take it from there. Another important factor, and this is a very, very, very key. This is probably one of the most important things actually when it comes to negotiation techniques, is move the conversation away from rates, move it away from money, because the longer you stay on this topic, the more of a door and opportunity you are giving them for them to counter, for them to increase or decrease the rate. So what I like to do as a technique is, if it's via email, I will so if an email, generally when they will see my the speculative CVs of candidates available in their area, a lot of clients will come back to me, say to me, "Hi Ahmed, we are interested. Can you kindly let me know how much this candidate is?" So if you are then going to email back with the rate, and when it comes on the phone, I will just generally try to let them throw a rate first. But if it's via email, for example, I will just let them know, if it's a doctor and we charge, let's just say, argument's sake, we're charging £115 per hour. I will just put it in the email. Thanks for getting back to me. This doctor, the rate of this doctor is £115 per hour, and I wouldn't just leave it there. This is very important. Ask a question, ask an open question, so for the conversation to lead. So I would just say is, the candidate's rate is £115 per hour. And what dates are you looking for cover? What can you kindly let me know of the availability of the shifts? And then I've moved the conversation away from rates. Now I've given her the rate or him the rate, and now I've moved the conversation away from rates. Now we're discussing about the shift. So now we're moving even forward. We're talking about the future of the shift that I potentially want to book him into. So even if you're on the phone, for example, to a candidate or a client will say to you, "What is the rate for this candidate?" And if they don't throw a rate first, and you go back and forth and you throw your rate, you say to them, "Okay, the rate is £65 per hour for this nurse. But once I've got you on the phone, this nurse can do X, Y, and Z." So I've just mentioned the rate. I'll tell them what the rate is, but then I'm going to drag the conversation away from staying on the rate and talk about the competencies now. So I'll be like, yeah, the candidate hourly rate is £65 an hour. She can do blood, she can do immunization, she can do pretty much everything you are looking for. What dates are you actually looking for cover? So we move the conversation away from talking about rates, and now we're discussing the dates and the shift that they are looking for cover. So it's very important. This is going to be, you're probably going to get this on a daily basis as you're speaking to candidates, as you're speaking to clients. The first questions that we'll ask you is how much, what is the rate? If you do mention the rate, do not dwell on it, do not stay on it, do not give them the window for them to say. A mistake, or what you don't want to do is saying, you're on the phone to your candidate and they say to you, "What is the rate?" "Hi, the rate is £65 per hour. How does that sound to you?" You've just opened the door now for them to counter it. Even if they were happy with it, the fact that you said, "How does that sound to you?" You're giving them the opportunity for them to contest that rate. It's a bit too low. Can you not get me 70? Can you not get me 75? But what you want to do is say, "Hi, the rate is £65 per hour. It's a really, really fantastic surgery. I'm sure you'll love it. They've got all the high-tech equipment. Do you want to book a trial shift potentially for next week? See if you like it. And if you do like it, I'm sure I can get you more shifts at that place." So now I've moved away. I've mentioned the rate. I've moved and shifted the topic to the shifts and getting them through the door. So that is what you want to do. Ensure that you don't dwell on the rates for too long. Maximizing your clients and candidates is also key. When I say maximizing, so it's important to, this word maximize is so important. So you want to maximize your candidates as much as you can. You want to get the most out of your candidates. So for example, if you're speaking to your candidate and your candidate says to you, "I'm not available. I'm only available sort of 2 days a week, and I'm fairly booked up at the moment." "Okay, not to worry at all. What is it that you do?" I'll work 2 days a week." "What about the other 3 days?" Trying to get the most out of your candidate. "What about the other 3 days?" "Oh, the other 3 days I'm actually off. I don't like to work." "What if I can get you a shift just a one odd day a week?" "Okay," and then that candidate may potentially be swayed. Or if you speak to a candidate and they say to you, "I'm not available at the moment, and I'm working full time." "Okay, I know you're working full time, and I appreciate that. What about the odd weekends? Would you be interested in potentially working the odd Saturdays or the odd Sundays? And I can get you a slightly higher rate, and you don't have to commit to it all the time." And they may say to you, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually doing the odd Saturdays or the odd Sundays." If they say to you, "I'm not available for work during the weekdays," ask them, "Okay, would you potentially be interested in evening work?" Try and get anything out. So you're trying to squeeze as much out of your candidates as possible. If they can do evenings, offer them. If they can do potentially a few hours in the evenings, can they do nights? Can they do weekends? And just try and get more out of your candidates and your clients. Likewise, your client say to you, "I'm looking for someone every Mondays and Wednesdays. Can you find me a software developer to join our company 2 days a week?" Okay, so if you find them a candidate, or you find them a client, if you find them a candidate who's able to work the 2 days a week, but he can do Mondays and Thursdays, do not assume that it's a non-starter, or that they only will take. Just ask them, "Are you able to do anything? Are you able to move things around?" Try to maximize as much as you can from your clients and say "Are you able to move things around?" He's a fantastic candidate. I'm sure you don't want to miss out on him. I know he can't do the Wednesdays, but he can do the Thursdays instead. Do you want to give him a try? And if they say yeah, okay. What about, and he's just become available also on the Fridays as well. And would you have would you have happen to have any room availability at all to take him, or would you have any space or a capacity for him to work the extra Fridays? Ask that question. Don't assume just because they asked you 2 days a week that they may not want more dates. And if he's available on weekends, just let them know. Oh yeah, he's also available on and every other Saturday. Would you need the extra pair of hands every other Saturday? Also, try to maximize and get the most out of your candidates as possible, and your client as well. So when it comes back, so we go back to candidates now. Then if they say to you, I'm only available 3 days a week. Ask them what is it that you do on your days off. If they haven't, let's say they don't do much on their days off, ask them, would you be interested just a couple of hours, just a couple of hours on your days off, or just a couple of hours on the weekends. So trying to get just a little bit more out of your candidates and your clients, and try to maximize them as much as you can, because you never know. If you don't ask, you don't get. Ask them. Don't assume that just because they ask you for 2 days a week that they can't do an extra day. Don't assume just because they asked you for a 3 months contract that they won't be able to extend that contract. Never assume. Always ask the questions, because if you don't ask, you don't get. Another negotiation technique is FOMO, fear of missing out. This really, really works with your candidates, and it works with your clients. So it's very important when you are speaking to your candidates. So if I'm speaking to a candidate, I'm saying to them, I've got a work opportunity in their area. It's just become available and it's paying really good rates. A lot of the times, it's people will need a little bit of time to think on it, to sleep on it, to take their time. So this is your opportunity as a recruitment consultant to give them that little push that they need to get them through the door. So let them know that you've contacted them first. So what I will say to them is, just to let you know, I've just contacted you first. This role just came in. The client, I've just got off the phone to the client, and they are looking for a candidate who literally suits you literally suit all the requirement that they have. I thought I'd pick up the phone and speak to you first before I reach out to anyone else. And this, if they say to you, I'm potentially they're and ahhing, and they're interested, but they don't want to commit. And they say to you, can I think about it? This is a common thing. Can you just email me? I'll think about it. Can you give me a couple of days? Just let them know. Yeah, absolutely, no worries. You can sleep on it. But just to let you know, I've came to you first, and I'm not sure by tomorrow when we next speak if this is still going to be available. Because I know this is going to be in high demand because it's really, really good rates. It's quite local. It's a fantastic company, and it comes with all of these perks. So I can definitely check in with you and touch base with you tomorrow, but I can't guarantee this opportunity still will be available, because I've got my colleagues at the moment as we're speaking also calling around trying to find candidates for this position. So I just thought I do want you losing out on this opportunity, and it's probably best thing just to get your foot through the door, send your CV across to them, and try to arrange an interview for you. How does that sound? And then trying to give them that little push, give them that fear of missing out. And you can also apply this to your client. And how can you apply it to your client, you may ask, is by letting them know you've got them a candidate who suits exactly what they are looking for. The candidate has just become available. He just ended a long-term contract and he is free as we speak. And you send them the candidate, they will say to you, yeah, looks good. All right. We're going to discuss this internally. Can I come back to you in a few days? Let them know. Yeah, absolutely. You can get back to me tomorrow or whenever. But just to let you know, this candidate has just become available, and I know he's going to be in demand. As you know, to find a software engineer, then in these days, especially in this area, and let them know whatever area they recruit for in the London area, it's really rare. And this candidate, I'm sure, is going to be snapped right away. So many clients will be interested in taking him on. So yeah, you can definitely come back to me by tomorrow, but I can't guarantee you he will hold his availability and he still will be available. So probably the best thing, honestly, will be is just so you don't lose out on this candidate, is schedule an interview, see if he's the right person for you, and if he is, then you've got nothing to lose. But I wouldn't be able to guarantee you if it will still be available tomorrow. So that way, you're giving that push, you let them know, you're giving the fear of missing out that if they don't act now, that this candidate may not be available tomorrow. You know how they say today's price, not yesterday's price. So I hope you've understood this, and I will come. So I hope you benefited from this module, and I will see you on the next one. Hello, all. It's Ahmed here from Recruitable University on today's recruitment program. So we are on the last lesson on module number 5, which is time management and organization. Time management and organization, it's probably one of the most important parts of recruitment, making sure you are able to organize yourself and you can manage your day so you get the most and be the most productive and get the most out of your day as possible. So let's get straight into it. What you want to do is set yourself up with daily and weekly to-do list. It's so important because what you want is to visualize and see all the tasks that are ahead of you. So what I like to do is I split up my, and I just use a diary and I just put a line that's straight down the middle and put on one side clients and one side candidates. So on the client side, any clients that I need to chase, that I've put forward, candidates that I need to schedule an interview, I need to schedule a meeting, any client, anything that is sort of client related, I put on the left side and I will just jot down anything that I need to do for that day. And on the right side of my page, I will have my anything that is candidate related, whether it's I'm waiting for a CV from Jonathan the doctor, or I'm waiting from a CV from a software engineer. So anything that is candidate related, or even follow up with a candidate who I've placed for a shift last week to touch base just to see how they got on and sort of and just to see if there's anything else just sort of servicing your candidates. So anything that's sort of candidate related, I will put on the right side, and this is how I personally organize my day. So every morning, first thing, as soon as I come in, I look at my to-do list for today. So I've got this, and this to do. So as I look at my to-do list, I will tick it off. So if I've just received a CV from Jonathan the doctor, then I can just tick it off and say, all received, perfect. So my list will generally should be getting shorter throughout the day, but then of course you'll be adding on more tasks and more things that you need to do. So have a daily to-do list and also have a weekly to-do list. So you know by the end of the week, I should have accomplished and I should have achieved this and this. And what you've not achieved at the end of that week, drag it over to next week. So copy and paste it, or just write it out, or whatever method that you organize yourself. Just ensure that you drag the to-do list from last week and put it into this week's to-do list if it has not been completely done. So that way you're not missing anything, you're organized, you're staying on top of things, and staying on top of things in recruitment is by far the most important thing. I see recruiters come and go based on organization. So, for example, let's just say you get a position in East London. They are looking for a construction manager. Okay, so you write this down. You in your list of vacancies that you have, and write down, I've got a position for East London, a construction manager. So when you're speaking throughout the day, let's say a construction manager becomes available in the East London area, because you're going to be speaking to hundreds of candidates on a daily basis. Let's say a few days later, that person may not be in your mind. You will look at your to-do list for the week, and you can find that you have, or on your availability list, or however you organize yourself, you'll find that you have this candidate available, or you've got this position that become available. So all you have to do is just now tie the two together. Because you've got a candidate in the East London area looking for a position, and you've got a client in the East London area looking for a candidate. So all you have to do is just marry the two up and just make it a match, put the candidate forward to the client, and arrange an interview or a booking, whatever method, whether it's a permanent, or whether it's a temporary position, but just sort of to match the two together. What I see is people not organizing stuff, not writing down. You're not expected to have a fantastic memory in recruitment where you have to remember everyone and everything that happened in the day, but you've got to make sure that you are constantly writing things down so you don't lose anything. So when this candidate calls in, you know, if you don't remember to the top of your head that vacancy, you look at your vacancy page, or however you organize, whether you use the Microsoft Outlook for organizing your roles, or you can use just literally a Word document putting in all the vacancies that you have, or on your diary. So ensuring that you organize yourself and you write everything down, so that way you are not going to lose anything. So another thing is prioritizing high value tasks. When it comes to recruitment, it depends on what niche you're in, but generally speaking, in most niches, you'll have different different disciplines or different grades of candidates. So, for example, if you're in the healthcare industry, you've got doctors, you've got nurses, you've got healthcare assistants, you've got clinical administrative staff. So it's about, let's just say you get so many vacancies, which one are you going to prioritize? Try to prioritize the high value ones first, the ones that are going to make you the most money, the ones that are going to get you the better return of interest. So because at the end of the day, when it comes to recruitment, you're going to spend the same amount of time speaking to your candidates, whether you're speaking to a doctor who's earning much higher than a healthcare assistant who's earning a lot lower. So you're going to spend the same amount of time when it comes to speaking to them on the phone, sending them a CV request, getting their CV, screening their CV, putting it forward to the client, waiting for the client to respond back to you, then booking the candidate in for an interview or booking them straight into the shift. Generally speaking, it will take you the same amount of time. So if you've got now a position where they are hiring a GP or a position where they are hiring a healthcare assistant, you look at, okay, which one am I going to get the most for from the time that I will spend on? And that is the one I will prioritize, and that is the one that I will work on first. So look at your day, as we said, organize your day, come in the morning, look at your to-do list for the day, and make sure, try to get everything ticked off during the day. And as you are looking through your schedule for the day and the vacancies that you've got available on your desk, look at which one is going to make me the most money, which one is going to make me the more profitable, and try to prioritize that one over the ones that are not going to make you the most profit. When I say this, for example, you may have a hospital that contact you, say, I need a nurse just for 1 day a week, and then you've got another hospital who will contact you and say, I need a nurse for 5 days a week. So it's quite obvious that the one that you should prioritize is the one that is going to make you the most. So you should prioritize the one that is going to that are looking for a nurse for 5 days a week. Saying that does not mean that do not prioritize, or sorry, do not give any attention or do not work on any roles that are not of high value. There's times when it comes to if you don't have enough roles, or you don't have other vacancies, work on the ones that you have available at your hand, and understand also that a 1 day a week role can turn into a long term. A short term position can turn into a long term. You can so I've had, for example, where they wanted a candidate from me for literally just a few days, and this candidate's been working there for at least a good 8 to 9 months consecutively. So you never know, that 1 day can turn into a longer term. So don't also underestimate it, but prioritize the high value task over the non high value tasks. Diarize and follow up. So I did touch up on this, but just diarize everything that you are doing. So for example, if a candidate says to you, I'm not available at the moment, I'm just walking my dog, and can you give me a call back later on? Yes, no problem at all. What time later on? Can you actually give me a call next week, Thursday at 11 a.m.? Perfect. Put that in your diary. You're not expected to have a fantastic memory to, next week, Thursday, that you wake up in the morning and say, oh yeah, I need to speak to this candidate. Write it down. So whether you use your phone and you use Siri, and just if you've got an iPhone, and just say, can you remind me next week, Thursday, or you use Outlook and you put a reminder in, so it just pops up on your screen. Put it into your diary as well. Just write it down. And I'm quite old fashioned, so I have a physical diary, but I just write everything down. And on a daily basis, I'll be coming into the office and looking at my diary. Okay, what have I got to do for today? So then I will see on Thursday morning, 11 a.m. I've got that call with Jessica, the candidate that told me to speak to her at 11 a.m. So that way you're not missing anything. So ensure that you are always diarizing everything and that you need to do, and follow up things as well. It's so important. It makes the difference, because you never know, just that follow-up call can get you the sale that you need. So for example, a candidate will say to you, yeah, I'm really interested, can you give me a call at next week, Thursday at 11 a.m. and let's say you did not follow up, that you've just lost out on a deal. That candidate could have been a long term. That candidate really could have opened up doors for you for more work, not just only long term. No, don't just always think about the candidate, also think about the client as well that you're delivering to. They could be a big organization that could give you potentially more work from that same client as well. Not just from that client, they can also have had it before where that client will recommend you to other big organizations where they say to you, so and so has recommended us that you guys deliver and you're doing quite well with them, and we are also looking for X, Y, and Z. So just that one candidate, just that one follow-up has opened up so many other doors for you that you did not anticipate. So it's very important. Always diarize things. Make sure that everything is in the diary and that you are looking in your diary at your diary daily basis. There's no point just writing things in your diary if you're not going to look at it. So you've got first thing in the morning, as soon as I come in, I turn my computer on, I will just sit down and say, okay, what is on today's to-do list? What have I put down? And because I've diarized everything that I'm supposed to, everything that I'm supposed to follow up is in that diary. I know what I need to do and I know what I need to follow up. And organize your work and your candidate availability. So how do you do this? The way I organize my work and my candidate availability is I put, for example, on it can be very simple. You can use an Excel sheet. Make sure anyone that you speak to who's potentially available for work, put down their name, their number, their postcode, their email address, and their availability. So I just have a section where I just write availability. So if I speak to a candidate and they say to me, I'm available every Thursdays. My name's Jessica. I live in East London. I'm available every Thursdays. And this is my postcode and this is my email address. I'll put it into my availability list. So later on, as I'm working throughout the day or throughout the week, a client will call and say, hey, I'm looking for a software developer in the East London area. So the first thing I will do is go to my Excel sheet. And if you've got your niche that you're working on, then it's straightforward. But if you're, let's just say you're doing general recruitment where you just sort of not focusing on one niche and you're just doing a bit of everything, then have a section where you write down the candidate's profession. So then go to an Excel sheet and just go through the filters and trying to filter through by the professional. So if you're looking for web developers, it will just bring up all the web developers on your availability list that you've spoken to, and then try to narrow even more by going into, for example, London area, and then you'll find all the people that you spoke to in London who are available for work. That is the first thing that you want to do, is look at your candidates availability list as soon as a role comes in. What you don't want to do is get on the phones and start cold calling when this same candidate that you're going to cold call was already on your availability list. It's not about working hard, it's about working smart, making sure you're working efficiently and that you are diarizing, organizing your work, you're writing everything down and have a candidate availability list. If you don't have a candidate availability list, I'll be honest, you probably will not succeed in recruitment. And it may sound harsh, but it's the reality. Because what you're going to do is you're just going to work hard for no reason at all. You're just going to speak to candidates who you've probably spoken to a couple of weeks ago who are available. But had you write it down in your availability list, you would have gone straight to them from the get-go rather than having to cold call, and on the hundredth call, you've got hold of that candidate who you could have got hold of on your first call. So it's very, very important. Anyone that you speak to who is even remotely interested, even they show a bit of interest in working with your agency, make sure you put them on your candidate availability list. This availability list is literally gold dust. It's your returning point. Anytime you have a vacancy, go back to it. First thing first, go back to this availability list and see who is potentially available and matches the area that your client is looking for. And structuring your day so you get the most out of your day. How to structure your day. So for example, I've got an example here how you can potentially structure your day. So for example, 9 to 10 in the morning. Again, you don't have to follow it. This is just an example how I'll structure my day. 9 to 10 in the morning, I'll come in and go on to job sites and find the potential jobs that are available, and go on job site and trying to put new CVs, and I will speak to candidates. My target may be 25. I'm trying to get hold of at least 25 candidates, 5 qualified candidates, 2 potential leads. I want to get hold of 2 managers so I could potentially put forward candidates to her, put 5 new CVs onto the CRM. But again, if you've got an admin team, this is not something that you need to do. But in case you are just a one-man band, try to get at least 5 new CVs per day from your candidates. So then 10 to 11, I will target specific candidates. So I'd go on job boards or LinkedIn. 11 a.m. to 12 a.m., I would go on to the job boards or candidates that I've spoken to. I will update notes for anyone, any relevant information from a call. And 12 to 1, I will call managers. So I've moved. So if you notice, from 9 to 1 p.m., it's mainly sort of all candidate focused. Now, 12 o'clock, I will call managers. I'll put forward CVs. I will try to sell CVs. I'll try to arrange interviews. I'll put forward as many candidates as I can after lunch. What you want to do is business develop, try to speak to companies, get on them on the phone, cold call companies just to say, hey, I've got candidates available in your area. Try to follow up leads that you had from this morning calls. Bring up, or even try to find managers. You can always find managers on the job boards. So you can cold call just to say, hey, I got your details from the CV library, or I've got your details from LinkedIn. I can see that you guys are recruiting. And yeah, so we also supply X, Y, and Z to you, that we can supply to your company. 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Now try to follow up and get feedback from the CVs that you put forward this morning. So say, hey, just touching base with you. I know it's towards the end of the day. I just wanted to see what are your thoughts on the candidates I put forward to you. And so just try to have an hour in the late afternoon for all the follow-ups of the candidates. Between 5 to 6, let's say you this is based on you working or in an office, but if you're already at home, we can take off the driving home. So in the evening, what you want to do is have a callback list. I know we went through this already, but a callback list is very, very important. This is really crucial. This makes you a lot of money. Callback list is basically all the candidates who were potentials, who you knew if you've spoken to on the phone that you can potentially get them to pick up the shifts and get them through the door, but you couldn't get hold of them because they're working, because it's during the daytime, they weren't available. Have a callback list after 6 p.m. in your own time, at home, on your drive home. Speak to them. The candidates are a lot more chilled in the evening. Between 6, I would say between 6 to 8 is a really, really good window for you to speak to candidates, because they've just come home from work and they are a little bit more relaxed. They can take your call. And also in the evenings, prepare yourself for tomorrow. So start writing emails, a mail shot if you're doing mail shots. So get the mass emails ready to go out first thing in the morning. So this is how I would structure my day so I can get the most out of my day possible. I hope you benefited from this module, and I will see you on the next one.